Hey, good morning, everybody. Actually, good morning, everybody. Sorry if that cut out. And new subscribers, thank you so much. Good morning, everybody out there, men, women, everybody. Wanted to make a quick little video. I don't know how quick it'll be with my normal rambling, but I wanted just to make a video about my spice drink that I highly recommend. That I actually use as pre-workout, so I'll drink it upon when I rise. One thing I wanted to say though, if anybody is out there suffering from high cholesterol, diabetes, pre-diabetes, or high blood pressure as well, I want to recommend again. I know I showed it. I want to recommend the apple cider vinegar. And again, it can be any kind as long as it's organic. And as you can see in the bottom there, if you can kind of see, well, you really can't see, but if you see that dark stuff, that's kind of the mother, they call it. And it's basically your raw. It kind of your, because it's unpasteurized and it's raw and it's fermented. It kind of has your your amino your nutrition, your amino acids. The cider vinegar itself will have amino acids, but the mother is going to contain that fermented, really good for your intestines, and it really has a lot of antioxidant, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal properties to it. I don't know per se what's actually composed of the mother. I would have to research that and the specific molecular breakdown or the specific structure of it or what's in it that composes it. But I know it's a fermented process, so it's basically part of the fermentation, and it's really healthy for the body, and it's great for even like I said before, you could rub it on your skin if you're suffering from acne or psoriasis. Internally, externally is great. Also, if you are suffering from any of these conditions, you do want to eliminate sugars and grains, even whole wheat. Whole wheat will break down to sugar and will inflame the body, much like white bread. Wheat is actually, I've read quite a bit on wheat being even more harmful than white bread. So I would definitely check into that. But I would eliminate those things there, especially the sugars and the sucrose and the fructose, and those things there. Another thing I believe I did show, but anybody out there also for thyroid health, or if you're suffering from a thyroid condition, the kelp is excellent at re-regulating the thyroid and actually correcting the imbalance of the thyroid, and also protecting one from having a thyroid problem. The parathyroid is also going to come into play there, and diet will play a role. If there are any thyroid issues, you're definitely going to want to look at your diet, your meat consumption, your protein consumption. You're going to want to look at, again, of course, your sugars, your grain consumption. To try to modify a diet to eliminate those things, and to try to get that thyroid, reworking again, which can definitely be done. So that was a little off topic, but I did want to show that while I had them next to me here. But all I do is I throw in a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of paprika into about 12 ounces of water. I add in uh, half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of cayenne. I actually was working up to almost 2 teaspoons, but then it kind of started getting a little hot, so I tapered back a little bit. And I add about a half a teaspoon of the turmeric. It's a little strong, so I try to make it a half, but sometimes it works out to be a little less. And then I will add half a teaspoon of of cinnamon. And I try to get the spices organic, but if they're not on sale, I might just get the regular one. And basically, I'll add those in. I'll shake them up, and sometimes I'll add baking soda, a half a teaspoon or a quarter teaspoon. And the baking soda is actually pretty good at cleaning out the kidneys. You don't want to do it all the time because it can kind of mess with the stomach acid and your pH levels, and it could actually, if you drink baking soda over a prolonged period, you could kind of neutralize your stomach acids a little too much, so then it's going to put you into malabsorption because your stomach acids are off, and then of course you're not going to have those to break down the food correctly, which is going to interfere with your absorption. And that's actually a lot of times why we suffer from malabsorption, is because our pH is at a point where our stomach acids are off, to where when the food is digested, it's not being utilized correctly, which is obviously making us malabsorbing the nutrients of what we're eating. And of course, if we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, or per se, or the right fruit and vegetables, I should say, then that can contribute to some issues as well. So, and one thing about the cinnamon is very alkaline. Actually, a tablespoon of cinnamon contains, I believe it's 3% calcium, which in my opinion is quite high for a spice. I do like the paprika and the cayenne because it in a tablespoon, I believe it's about 15% vitamin A, I think it is, per tablespoon on the cayenne and the paprika. Might give or take a little bit. One thing I noticed too with the turmeric, on a tablespoon of that, you also get, I believe it's 100 and something milligrams. I think it's omega-3s. So they're nutrient dense, the spices, and they also are going to help with metabolic rate. If you are working out and your blood is flowing to the muscle, the paprika is great for the heart. The cayenne is great for the heart. It's great for the blood. It's great for hypertension, to prevent hypertension, to cure hypertension. It's great for cholesterol. It's great to bring down cholesterol. Basically, in my opinion, the spices with the vinegar and, the water and everything, it's an all-around tonic. And it kind of helps to, realign the body. And if you can tolerate the spices, you can work less or you can work up. Start with 1/8 of a teaspoon. 1/8 of a teaspoon per, couple things. The turmeric isn't spicy and the cinnamon isn't. It's just, a little tough to the taste sometimes when you're putting everything together and you're only using water. That's why I like adding a little baking soda, because it kind of makes it fizzy, and it's I call it like a spice soda. So it makes it easier to get down. But either way, I like to do that because whenever you're working out and that blood is flowing and the heart is pumping, you're absorbing everything at a more efficient rate. So you throw all this in there, and it's going to go right into your blood, right to your cells. You don't have any, I work out on a fasted state, so I don't have anything in my stomach at that point. So I know anything that's put into my stomach, into my body at that point, through, the physiological process of working out and through the pump, as you want to call it, I know those nutrients are going to be delivered into my bloodstream, into my muscles, and into my organs that much faster than if I were to use them without. And, if anybody is suffering, from, any type of ailment, use the apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon 3 times a day, like I said, morning, afternoon, and with dinner. You can even, add some spices in periodically throughout the day. The cinnamon is great. It's a good way to get some extra calcium from a different source. And in my opinion, through what I've researched through those 4 spices right there, there's quite a bit, and there's an array of spices. There's a few more that I've checked out, some coriander, some different ones that, I was thinking of adding in too. So, I would recommend anybody to definitely, go out there and research the spices and come up with your own formula, if you want to call it. And in my opinion, too, it's got to be great for kidney health because obviously you're drinking it. It's going to go right through the kidney. It's going to go right through the liver. It's very cleansing. It's hot. So in my opinion, it's going to help kind of, you know, it's just going to give some juice to those kidneys and, maybe help clean them out a little bit more. I do suffer from acid reflux at times, but I know with the spices I can load them up and, I don't have any issues. And, I feel pretty good drinking them. So I just wanted to just kind of share that with you. It was just something that, I was thinking, I was like, hey, I'll show them. And, yeah, so that's it. I was just trying to think if there was anything else while I was here, but if anything comes up, I'll just make another video. Thank you for your time, guys. Sorry if I know I said the apple cider vinegar in the beginning. I've been up since 1:30 this morning. I don't sleep the greatest. I usually wake up every 2-3 hours. Um, so, I went to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock last night. And, I was up at 1:30 this morning. I trained from 2:30 to almost 5:30, 2:30, I mean, not 5, 2:30 to 4, I'm sorry, 2:30 to about 4:15. Yeah, about an hour and 45 minutes I worked out. And I basically, I did some Supermans. I did a segment of deadlifts. I did a segment of farmer walks. I did a segment of pull-ups weighted, and I also did a segment of assisted one-arm pull-ups, trying to get to the one-arm pull-up. And that was basically it. So, it took a little more time because I was resting a little bit more through the deadlifts and through the farmer walks and whatnot. So yeah, so I'm a little tired, a little beat, but I did want to make that video just to get some more information out there to all my friends and family that I'm growing here. And again, thank you. Thank you for listening, and, sorry for some rambling, which usually happens, but have a great day, everybody. And God bless, universally blessed for those that don't believe. And, either way, just, goodness to everybody out there. And thank you for stopping by, and thank you everybody who has subscribed for subscribing and watching. Have a great day, everyone.